What's going on, friends? Welcome back to Dreams Not Deferred. It's your girl, Miranda Santillan. And I don't know about you, but I still get very nervous at times for auditions, for jobs, whether it's for music or acting. I have my moments. And that doesn't just, end with artistic stuff. It also translates into other new things that I experience in life, or, when I go to the dentist, it always seems to make me very nervous. So, we're going to talk about nerves and anxiety and how to really transmute them. We're talking about transmutation again into excitement, eagerness, and passion. Most of all, passion.
Let me tell you that I've had this dream since I was 13, watching MTV.
So many of us face nerves when we're auditioning, when we're putting on a show, when we're presenting our art or our talent in some way, and it's totally normal, right? Even Olympic athletes, even superstars still get a little bit nervous before a show. So first off, totally nervous, totally normal, my friends, okay? Don't judge yourself if you get the shakes. Some of us have more fired up nervous systems than others. I am one of those people. I am not going to label myself as somebody that I have anxiety, I am anxious, but I tend to be I'm trying to find a new way to put this. I don't like the word sensitive either, not because it's wrong or bad, but I feel so deeply. I feel so deeply and I'm so passionate that I can be susceptible to extremes in any direction, right? Extreme love and happiness and joy, but also sometimes extreme sadness or pain or fear. So I feel everything deeply. And if you're a creative, chances are you probably do too. You might have been called an empath before, right? You're very sensitive. And sometimes it sucks because you're like, man, just feels like any little thing that happens, it just seems like such a big deal to my body, even when it's all right. Like I'm not in danger. Maybe you have panic attacks. Maybe you have anxiety disorder. You're in the right place. Okay. Now, again, I will say this every time I talk about anxiety. I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist. I'm not here to tell you what you should do about your anxiety. I'm just here to share some tips that have helped me along the way as someone who's had many panic attacks over the years, who's been hospitalized multiple times for panic attacks. That hasn't happened in quite a few years. Because I've used a lot of tools and techniques, but it is my past and it's something that I still deal with. So let's get into it. Okay. First off, like I said, totally normal to have nerves before something. Why do we get nervous before an audition, a show, anything new, right? Well, there's a couple reasons. Number one, it's new, right? Even if you've been auditioning, you've been doing these gigs or these shows, every time is a new experience, right? Every audience is different. Every situation is technically new to you. If not, if you were already working on a project, you'd probably be nervous the first time and then, you come back with the same producers or same people and you wouldn't feel as nervous because you've already done it. So the first reason that we get really nervous before something is because it's new. And our bodies and our human brains do not like the unknown at all. We crave routine and the known because, unknown is danger. That's how we're wired. Okay, that's not the truth. The truth is not that unknown is danger. In fact, the unknown is where magic happens. But to our bodies and our human brains, we are wired in such a way that the unknown means danger. So anything that is new and different is going to set off that anxiety switch, right? It's going to sound the alarm to your body like, whoa, hold on, this don't feel right. Danger. So totally normal. So when that happens, when you're about to do something new, something for the first time or something you haven't done in a while and your brain is starting to go, oh my God, or maybe just your body. Maybe you're telling yourself, this happens to me a lot, hey, we know what we're doing. This is no big deal. There's no reason to be nervous. You don't need to be nervous. Let's do some calm breathing and just relax. But your body is like, nope, I'm nervous. Thank you. I will do what I want, and I'm not going to listen to you. If your body is reacting in that way, what I like to do is, first of all, just say, hey, it is completely okay that I'm nervous. There's nothing wrong with me. That's so important. And I know I say it all the time, but it's really, really important for you to acknowledge your feelings instead of saying, I'm not nervous. No, I don't get nervous. I'm fine, right? And just trying to shove it down or thinking that if you acknowledge the fact that you're nervous, that's negative. Now you're thinking negative thoughts. No, a negative thought is saying, oh my God, I'm so nervous because I sucked last time and I'm probably going to suck this time. And I always get nervous and I don't know if I'm good enough, right? That's a trail of negative thoughts. Saying, holy crap, I'm nervous right now. Oh my God, I don't know what to expect. That's not a negative thinking pattern, right? So don't get upset with yourself for feeling the way you're feeling. That's super important. Once you have acknowledged, I feel like this, and that is okay, it does take a little bit of the power away from the anxiety, right? But of course, it doesn't just melt away magically. So what I like to do when I am feeling those nerves is, first of all, get my breathing under control to the best of my ability. Okay, but this is not where we're going to stop because everyone talks about breathing exercises when you're anxious, when you're feeling a panic attack coming on. And it's great because what happens when you have an anxiety attack is you hyperventilate. So, yes, we want to get our breathing under control. But what happens is a lot of us stop there and then we don't do anything with the energy, with the anxious energy. And so we kind of get stuck in this I'm trying to calm down, I'm trying to calm down while our body is freaking out phase. So we're going to get to the next part. But first off, find a breathing exercise pattern that works for you. They don't all work for everyone. Some people like box breathing. Personally, so, maybe look up some different breathing techniques for anxiety. What I like is one of two things. Either I do simply a deep breath in and try to exhale for just a little bit longer than I inhaled. So I don't necessarily need to count every second, but I might go, that was 4, and then out 5, right? I like to go in through the nose and out through the mouth. That really helps me. And also, the important thing about breathing, regardless of what breathing exercise you do, is trying without, forcing, but trying to breathe in with your belly expanding out and then breathe out with your belly collapsing in, which is not how most of us breathe. If you're a singer, you've probably learned proper breath training or you're a yogi or something, but most people breathe through their chest, which makes anxiety and hyperventilation worse because now you have shortness of breath, right? So most people breathe like this and it gets worse as you get anxious. Oh my God, you can hear it in my voice, right? So you want to if you're not embarrassed to and people aren't like staring at you, if you can put your hands on your lower belly and feel what it's like to expand your belly into your hands, right? And then feel what it's like to collapse it on the out breath. And of course, physically trying to relax your shoulders, bringing them down, soften your jaw, anything that you can do to soften your body in that moment, just for the first minute, let's say. Okay, so you're freaking out, you're starting to feel those tingles in your fingers. Tingers, I like that. You're feeling the tingers. Get the breathing done first, right? Well, actually, first is acknowledge the thought, tell it, hey, it's all right. It's all right, brain. It's okay that we feel this way. Don't trip. Nothing wrong with you. Then we go to the breathing, right? We get into the body because what happens is a lot of us stay in the mind, right? And we're just doing all this chatter and panic up here. And then we kind of get detached from our body in a weird way because we're so anxious, right? That the body is like, yo, like I need you here right now. We're in danger. So breathing helps to get you back into the body. Okay. So the other breathing exercise I like doesn't always work for me, but sometimes I like 4, 5, 7. So in for 4, hold for 5, and out for 7. Okay, in for 4, hold for 5, out for 7. If I'm really, really anxious, and like my heart is racing, this one doesn't work for me because holding your breath feels worse when you're having a panic attack. So I would recommend the first one if you're like really up there with the heart rate. But if you're kind of just in the middle, just feeling a little nervous, your palms are sweating, you're getting clammy, you're kind of pacing back and forth, or you're rocking, that might be a good chance to practice 4, 5, 7. Okay. Once you have done the breath, you've told yourself it's okay to feel what you're feeling, you've acknowledged it, you've done the breath. The part that I have recently found in the past, I'd say year, and this was thanks to my counselor actually. So big thanks to my counselor. I always recommend therapy for anybody who, and this is not an ad for BetterHelp, okay? Don't worry, but anyone who, has anxiety and nerves, oh my gosh, therapy's so helpful, right? She actually recommended, because she's also in traditional Chinese medicine and she's getting her license to do acupuncture. So she's really into that world too. And she talks about chi and like how it flows and how energy flows. And the thing is, when you're anxious, that anxious energy almost needs to be expressed, right? Sometimes we're able to we get excited, we get anxious, we're able to calm down our breathing and relax. When you're in traffic, right? And somebody cuts you off and you get all upset. Usually you're able to kind of bring yourself back down within a few minutes, maybe a little longer, but you're able to bring it back down naturally. But when you're in anticipation of an event, that's when it seems to be hard to get it back down, right? For example, for me, the first time I did a live directed session, it was new, right? And I had tested it, but you never know until you actually jump in if there's going to be a technical problem. And I've had 2 occasions where I had a technical problem with live directed sessions. It ended up working out fine, but it was a pain in the butt. But I didn't know what to expect because I had never actually done one. So live directed session for voice actors, and maybe even some singers out there, is literally you are live with the client in your ear. So either you're on Zoom or you're on Source Connect. They're either recording you fully from their end or you're recording yourself. And then also, so you're for me, most of the time, I'm running my session where I'm recording my vocals. So I got that set up. And then on top of that, I've got, Zoom or whatever, Microsoft Teams or Source Connect going. So I'm always like, not afraid, but there's always that chance where like my computer is like, hey, you've got too many applications open. We're going to glitch and shut down. So anyways, long story short, I was really nervous before the first one because I just had never done it and I just didn't want to screw it up. I didn't want my neighbor to just start randomly being loud upstairs right in the middle of the session. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in your mind before something like that. And so right before the session, as I was leading up to it, for an hour, I was anxious. And I was like, oh my God, I've been trying to calm myself down. But it's like, until I actually get it done, I'm going to be anxious. Like, I was at that point of no return where there was nothing that was going to bring me down. And what I learned from my counselor is that often you need to move that energy. If it's not settling, then you need to let it out. Right? You ever see a little kid bouncing off the freaking walls, right? Or your dog or your cat, and they're just like, pew, 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 pew. Cats. Oh my God. When you see your cat running around with the flat ears and the big scary demon eyes and they're just running across the house, right? My cat, if you have a Maine Coon or a rag doll, they love to make these little noises. And they run around the house like a crackhead, right? They need to let their energy out. They might be overstimulated, right? That happens a lot. Or they're just really excited and they want to play, they want to move. And if you tell a kid, this is what happens a lot with kids, sit down and be quiet, right? I need you to sit down and be quiet, which sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? You're in the middle of a funeral. You don't want your kid bouncing off the walls and, mommy, look at me. And so sometimes you need to be like, 5 minutes, just be quiet and sit down. So not judging anybody here, but generally what happens is we tell them to sit down and be quiet, right? We tell the dog to stop barking and stop running around. Stop, sit, be quiet, chill, right? When they just need to get their energy out. And once they do, unless they're a kitten or a puppy, and then it's like their energy is never out. But anyways, once they let that initial burst of energy go, they can kind of chill out a little bit. It's like they naturally just bring it back down, not because they're completely burnt out, but because they kind of got that energy moving, right? So what I started to do over this past year, like with that session, was why don't I physically move this energy? Why don't I literally either, because I couldn't go work out, which I would say is one of the best ways to get the energy out, go for a run, lift some weights. But if you're like 5 minutes before an event or something, you can't really go work out. So anything that you can do physically, whether it is literally walking around, like, hyping yourself up, shadow boxing, doing some jumping jacks. If you can't do that because you're in a situation where you need to remain professional on the outside, doing something, like dancing, like, appropriately. If you're in a business meeting, you don't want to be breaking it down. Maybe you do. I don't know. But anything that can get your body moving, move that energy, right? Even something like do, right? If it's cold and I'm kind of doing something like this, tapping, tapping on your legs, fidgeting, I guess you can call it, but you can do it in a way where you're kind of looking casual. Because I know I want this to be helpful for when you're in situations where, again, you can't go work out or go for a run, right? You can't go punch the punching bag or scream or put on some, rage music and like, that's great when you can, by the way. If you've got like a session or a show in like 20 minutes, put on some rage music and just ah, whatever makes you crazy and let it all out. But if you can't, anything that kind of gets you moving, right? If you can go in the bathroom and literally just like do some like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you, my friends, it's like the, what do they call it? Power poses, right? If you're feeling like you're lacking confidence, go in the bathroom. I know it seems silly, but like standing in a confident pose, right? Just the way that you carry yourself changes your energy. So this is no different. It's changing your energy. It's letting that anxiousness out and channeling it into something that helps to move it, right? You're moving it through. So move it through in a physical way, right? And if you can, go scream in a pillow, go punch something, go jump up and down, right? Go rage. But just find a way where you can kind of exit some of that energy. The other thing is, this is kind of my last point. Aside from all of that, being able to channel it in to your art, or even if it's not your art, your activities, and use anxiousness, because anxiousness is very, very close energetically to excitement. Excitement and anxiety are nearly twins. They are so close in vibration and frequency. So when you're feeling nervous energy, anxiousness, and you've acknowledged it, you've said, hey, it's totally okay that I feel this right now, no judgment to myself. You've done a little bit of breathing if you needed to kind of get into your body. You've kind of done something to kind of shake it out and get that energy moving. Once you've done that, use that energy and transmute it into excitement, right? Because it's so close. It's so, so, so close that it can be easy with a little bit of practice to go, okay, I'm feeling a little nervous right now. You know what? I'm not feeling nervous. I'm excited, right? I'm super excited to do this. Like, yep, it's new and I don't know what's going to happen and I might screw it up. I might, flop. I don't know. Who knows? But how exciting. How full of life am I? So that's a phrase that keeps coming to mind for me. I know it sounds a little cheesy, but I just think, wow, how cool that I'm so energetic and full of life. I'm so engaged. If I wasn't, I wouldn't feel this nervous energy, right? This excitement. We're going to call it excitement now. And again, you're not denying your feelings. You're not lying to yourself and saying, no, 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 I don't feel anxiety. I'm perfect and life is perfect and I never, no, but it's saying, can I actually kind of just turn this up a little bit into excitement? Right? Can I turn it into a different direction? So rather than just telling yourself, I need to calm down, I need to calm down, relax a little bit, but then maybe channel it into something, right? If you're going into an audition or you're going into doing a show or an interview with somebody, pitching to a client, right? Sending an email, doing a YouTube or Instagram video or just something that makes you nervous. Turn it into excitement. The other thing I like to do is Be honest with people. Be straight up honest because taking the power out of the emotion is super helpful. So be really honest when you get into the situation. I've done this a couple times where I was so nervous. Literally, my hands were going numb. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have a panic attack. Like, if I don't chill, I can't feel my fingers, right? The hyperventilation was beginning. And I got into the booth and I'm like, holy crap, I'm nervous to the sound technician. Like, wow, like, whew, my gosh, you know what? I'm gonna be first. Let me be first in the class because I'm so nervous. I need to get this over with, right? And I say it in a playful way, not in like, oh my God, my life is terrible. I'm so nervous. But I literally just say it. Complete honesty. And a couple things happen when you do that. Number one, it softens it a little bit and it takes the power away from it because you're like, hey, I'm admitting it. I'm admitting it. I'm saying it out loud. So whatever. Okay, sure. I'm facing you head on. I'm not denying you. I am nervous right now. But people respect when you're honest, right? And it makes you more likable too. Not in a way where you're self degrading, like, oh, I'm so nervous because I'm a beginner and I'm scared and oh, little me. No, no, no. It's just being like, whew, man, I got some nerves I'm trying to shake off right now. Let's do this, you know? It makes you more vulnerable, and more vulnerability is especially in the arts, acting, singing, any type of artistic environment, people love vulnerability. It's human, it's raw, it's emotion, right? They love that. So I just wanted to add that in, that just being honest and putting it out there, sharing it with someone, telling someone rather than venting. Venting and expressing are very different. Venting is you just harping on it and letting it out over and over. When you've already expressed it and moved the energy, you just keep on bringing it up, right? And you're like, oh, and life sucks and blah, blah, blah. Expressing is more like, this is going on. This is how I feel. Ah, to another person. You're just kind of putting it out there. And hopefully, if you've got some good people around you, they're saying, hey, man, that's all right. You know, don't be nervous. Come give me a hug. Like, or like, hey, you want to like go for a quick walk around the block to kind of shake it out. So, yeah, just be honest about it. To recap, we talked about acknowledging the emotion first, saying, hey, I feel nervous. I feel anxious. I feel scared. That is totally okay. No judgment upon myself. Getting into some breathing exercises to try to calm the nervous system a bit, moving that energy somehow. If you can do some type of physical movement, if you can rage a little bit, work out, run, just, tap your body in some way that kind of helps you move it. And then being able to be honest with other people about it to kind of diffuse the tension. And also, what was the other thing? Oh my God. You know what? I need another sip of coffee and then I'll remember because coffee's magic. Oh, being able to transmute it into your creativity. Yeah, I mean that's really it, but just art is so powerful when it's authentic and raw, right? And so if you are feeling really anxious or nervous or fearful, use that. Even if your character, let's say you're an actor and your character is really confident. My character wouldn't be nervous. Cool. So take that nervousness and fear and transmute it into, well, I'm just really excited then. Like, yeah, I've got high energy because people think that high energy people are super confident. Right? I get so many comments from people about how you seem so confident. And sometimes I am. Sometimes it's authentically confidence, like pure. The other 50% of the time, it's actually nervousness and anxiety that I am allowing to transmute into excitement, passion for life. Passion was the word, I swear this is my last point. Passion was a word that I really wanted to include in this because if you're artistic, you're a passionate person. You have a passion. So allow this energy to be a beautiful thing that you can turn into passion. Right? You're so full of life. You're so full of ideas and creativity. You're passionate. So instead of saying, oh my God, I'm always anxious and I'm always sensitive, stop saying that about yourself. Stop telling the story that you're sensitive and emotional and, oh, what's wrong with me? I wish I could just be strong or calm. being calm is great, and I definitely recommend meditation for becoming more calm. But there's nothing wrong with being full of life. And I know anxiety doesn't feel good, but if you can learn to allow it to move into other types of energies, and you can also learn to shift your perspective on it and say, maybe all of this anxiety and nervousness is just showing me how incredibly full of life I am. I think I've said that like 6 times now, so I'm going to end this here. Anyways, my friends, thank you again for showing up. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.